Beware of falling babies. One spring day in 1937, the lives of a street sweeper named Joseph Figlock and a 1-year-old baby were brought together in a most unusual way. As Figlock was walking down a Chicago street, a baby fell from a 4th-story window and landed on him. Fortunately, Figlock broke the fall and the baby was not injured. A year later, while passing by that same building, the same baby fell out of the same window and landed on Mr. Figlock. Once again, both the baby and Mr. Figlock escaped unharmed.
The Fatal Kimono. One of the most famous kimonos in Japanese history is one that, in the 17th century, was owned successively by 3 teenage girls. Each time one of the girls inherited the kimono, she would die before she had the chance to wear it. The kimono was believed to be so harmful that in 1657, a Japanese official decided to burn it in order to destroy the kimono forever. As the kimono burned, a wind blew the flame and spread the fire, which quickly burned out of control. Eventually, this fire spread through most of Tokyo, destroying 300 public places, 500 palaces, 9,000 shops, 61 bridges, and killing 100,000 people.
Struck by lightning. In 1971, a truck driver named Edwin Robinson was in a road accident. The head injury he suffered left him blind and deaf. Nearly 10 years later, on June 6, 1980, while looking for his pet chicken during a thunderstorm, he was struck by lightning. Robinson later recalled that it felt as if somebody had cracked a whip over my head. He was hit so hard that he was unconscious for 20 minutes. After regaining consciousness, he suddenly realized that he could see and hear again. And to make the story even more incredible, after decades of being bald, several weeks later, the delighted Robinson started to grow hair again.
Double Trouble. On July 28, 1900, King Umberto I of Italy was seated in a small restaurant when the owner came to take his order. The king and his advisor were astounded. The man looked identical to the king. After taking a few minutes to appreciate their striking resemblance, the men began talking and found a number of other odd similarities. Both men were named Umberto, both were born on the same day in the same city, and both were married to a woman named Margarita. The following day, the king was informed that the restaurant owner had been killed that morning in a mysterious shooting accident. Minutes after hearing this news, while climbing into his carriage, the king was assassinated.
Fad? Fad?
Yes? Hey, aren't you...
Ahmed, Abdullah's brother. From Jeddah, from back home.
I knew you looked familiar, but I couldn't place your face. What are you doing here?
I'm going to school here.
No way. That's incredible. Abdullah never mentioned that you were going to college in Beirut.
I didn't know either until a couple of months ago. I applied, but I was put on the waiting list. It was looking iffy there for a while, but I got a break in July. A space opened up. I was so happy that I was on cloud 9 for weeks.
I can't get over this. What are the chances? I hope we'll see each other around campus, though I don't know if we'll run into each other that often. I'll be spending most of my time on the North Campus. That's where most of my classes will be.
Why? What are you studying?
Pre-law.
No way. I'm studying pre-law too.
Okay, now you're freaking me out.
This is amazing. What dorm are you in? Wait, don't tell me. I bet you're in Fares Hall.
No, Habib Hall.
Whew, I'm almost glad. I don't think I could have handled another coincidence.
Alicia Smith and Jenna Greer are identical twins who, at birth, were orphaned and adopted by different families. Incredibly, they grew up just 25 kilometers apart from one another, with each believing that she was an only child. Some would say that the story of their recent accidental reunion was coincidence. Some would say it was meant to be. Upon graduating from high school, each of the girls chose to study psychology at universities only 2 kilometers apart. While attending university, Jenna kept noticing that strangers would wave and say hello to her. Meanwhile, Alicia's friends complained that she sometimes didn't wave back at them when they saw her on the street. Listen to the young women tell the story of how they discovered one another.
A friend of Jenna's came to a study meeting at our dorm when I was 20. She was shocked by how much I looked like a friend of hers. Of course, that friend was Jenna. She kept telling me that I had to meet this friend. She showed me a picture of Jenna and gave me her email address.
After exchanging a couple of emails and talking to our parents, we discovered that we were sisters. So we made plans to meet.
The first meeting was really emotional. I thought my heart was going to thump out of my chest. It was strange seeing my face on someone else's body. And as soon as we started talking, we both noticed how similar our accents and mannerisms were.
As we got to know each other, we found out that we'd lived lives that were, in many ways, incredibly similar. It's uncanny how much we have in common. Both of us have been painting since we were 5. We both liked horses. We both planned to study teaching. And we had both volunteered at the Community Support Center.
But I think the strangest thing of all is that we even have the same recurring dream. One time when Jenna and I were talking, she described the same dream that I've had since I was a child. I was so freaked out that I just dropped the phone.
I really believe that we are meant to be together. I think it was supposed to happen now, not when we're older or when we were younger and wouldn't have understood. This way, we can enjoy each other for the rest of our lives.
1. They are identical twins who, at birth, were adopted by different families. 2. The first meeting was emotional. 3. I thought my heart was going to thump out of my chest. 4. I just dropped the phone. 5. The strangest thing of all is that we even have the same recurring dream.